Devak now floated in nothingness, without sight, without speech, without sensation. If he breathed, he couldn't feel the rise and fall of his chest. If his heart beat, he couldn't hear its thrum in his ears. Invading the darkness, endless looping nightmare images spun through his mind. Him running along the rocky, uneven ground near his great-grandfather's house in Chu River sector. The stench of the Chatti River drifting to him from the left, the warehouses looming on the right. Him calling after Kayla as she ducked into the alley between two warehouses. Him stumbling as the ground suddenly tipped and rolled under his feet, his body torn apart as he fell into darkness. The nightmare rewound. Kayla hadn't stepped into the alley yet. Devak still had time to save her. As he ran, a Lev car pulled up, and a true-born woman and man climbed from it. The woman dashed toward Kayla and screamed out her name as a man tried to drag the woman back toward the Lev car. Kayla took one last look at Devak, then she vanished down the alley. The world exploded as before. Another rewind. Now when the true-born woman climbed from the Lev car, Devak saw she was Kayla, her gen tattoo wiped from her right cheek. Kayla screamed her own name, warning herself not to enter that alley. But it made no difference. The blast obliterated Kayla and sent Devak into darkness. He must be dead. The nothingness and the nightmares must be Patella. Hell. He didn't know what he'd done in his life that was bad enough to send him to this evil place. Maybe it was that he, a high-status trueborn, had fallen in love with Kayla, a gen girl. Or maybe the sin wasn't his love for her, but that he'd hidden his feelings from trueborn society out of fear of their judgment. If he regretted anything, it was that. He should have held Kayla up to the whole world and declared to all her courage and humanity. He could feel the nightmares about to start again, the images fluttering out of nothingness to engulf him. No, he sobbed into the silence. The images retreated. At first, he thought his noiseless voice had some power to drive them away, but then he saw light faintly glowing in the darkness. And for the first time, he heard voices, real voices, and not just nightmare screams. The voices were muffled, not so much by distance as by something blanketing his ears. He remembered once his family visiting one of the Trueborn preserves, and he'd gone swimming without permission in a man-made lake there. As he was floating just under the surface, his mother had shouted at him to get out of the water, that it was dirty from the gen maintenance workers walking through it. These voices sounded just like those underwater voices. But he didn't know who was speaking. The few words he caught, options limited, expense quota exceeded, sounded like just so much nonsense. Then he heard Pitama, and would have gasped in a breath of relief if his lungs still worked. From the tone of his great-grandfather's voice, Zul Manel was arguing with someone. Devak could only make out Pitama saying, after all the Manels have done, before the argument faded.